The growl of motorcycle engines shattered the silence as a pack of bikers closed in, forming a circle around a lone woman. Their laughter was sharp, cruel, and filled with arrogance as they pointed and mocked, convinced she was powerless against them. But this was no ordinary woman. This was Coco Jones, calm, unshaken, and hiding a fire they had no idea was about to ignite. Every smirk, every insult only pushed them closer to a brutal reality they weren't prepared to face. The question is, when the tables turn, who will be left standing? The mob of bikers or the woman they foolishly called Helpless? It was late at night on a dimly lit street, the kind of place where shadows stretched long and silence carried weight. The flicker of a broken street lamp gave the scene an eerie glow as Coco Jones stood beside her car, calm and composed. She wore a simple black jacket and jeans, her hair tied back neatly, her eyes sharp and unwavering. Even with danger circling her, she held herself with quiet confidence, not a trace of fear in her expression. Around her roared the engines of a biker gang, their leather jackets patched with skulls and flames, their laughter loud and mocking. They strutted off their bikes with cocky grins, certain they were in control. Their voices were filled with arrogance as they taunted her, every word dripping with overconfidence. To them, Coco looked like an easy target, someone stranded and alone in the wrong place at the wrong time. But if they had paid closer attention, they might have noticed her steady breathing, the way she stood firm, and the calm focus in her eyes. She was not the prey they believed her to be. The bikers closed in, their engines still rumbling faintly as the sound echoed through the empty parking lot. One of them smirked, leaning closer with a sneer. "What's a pretty little thing like you doing out here all alone? Looks dangerous for someone so fragile." His words dripped with mockery, the others laughing in agreement. Another circled around, brushing his shoulder against hers as though testing her boundaries. "Lost, sweetheart? Or did you come looking for trouble?" Their voices carried arrogance, each insult designed to cut deeper, to remind her she was surrounded and outnumbered. "This isn't the place for someone like you," one biker taunted, spitting to the side. "Better run home before someone teaches you a lesson." They chuckled, enjoying the cruelty, their tone filled with the smug confidence of men who believed they owned the night. Coco did not flinch. Her calm presence stood in sharp contrast to their aggression. Her eyes remained steady, scanning each of them with quiet calculation, as if she were taking mental notes. Her silence unnerved them, though they tried to mask it with louder jeers. One step closer, close enough for his breath to touch her face. "What's wrong? Cat got your tongue? Don't worry, we'll make you talk." He shoved her shoulder lightly, expecting her to stumble, but she stayed rooted, unmoved. The group laughed louder, but unease flickered beneath the surface. They were used to fear, panic, begging, but Coco gave them none of it. Instead, her stillness carried a weight that unsettled those who noticed. She met their stares one by one, her composure sending a silent message that went against everything they expected. The insults grew bolder, their movements edging into open harassment. One flicked at her hair, another kicked at the ground near her feet, trying to provoke her. They mistook her silence for weakness, not realizing she was watching, waiting, measuring. Every word they spat and every shove they delivered only built the anticipation of what was about to unfold. One of the bikers finally steps closer, smirking as if he owns the night. His hand shoots out, rough fingers reaching for Coco's arm, certain she won't resist. The others laugh, already convinced she is powerless to stop them. But Coco doesn't flinch. She doesn't step back. Her calm eyes lock on his with a steady focus that makes the air heavier. The narrator cuts in with a warning, almost like a secret whispered to the audience. They had no idea who they were touching, no idea what kind of storm was about to break loose. Years before this night, Coco was not the woman these bikers thought they could intimidate. Her strength was not born overnight. She grew up watching people underestimate her, assuming her quiet presence meant weakness. But Coco refused to let the world decide her limits. She sought out training, first in simple self-defense classes, then pushing herself further into martial arts and advanced combat skills. Every strike, every stance, every drill was etched into her muscle memory through endless hours of discipline and sacrifice. Her instructors often said she trained harder than anyone else, not because she wanted medals or recognition, but because she understood the importance of being prepared. Life had taught her resilience. She had seen moments of danger before, moments where fear could have controlled her, but instead she chose mastery over her own mind and body. The sweat, the bruises, the long nights of repetition were not just about fighting, they were about survival, about never being a victim. For Coco, discipline became a way of life. She learned how to stay calm when chaos erupted, how to measure her breath when adrenaline surged, and how to see openings where others only saw threats. Her training gave her confidence, but more importantly, it gave her peace. When others might panic, Coco remained steady because she knew exactly what she was capable of. That is why, in this moment with the bikers closing in, she stood tall. She was not afraid. Behind her calm expression was a lifetime of preparation, a woman forged through resilience, ready for any challenge. The bikers moved in closer, forming a wall of leather and steel around Coco. Engines rumbled low like growls, and their voices rose with arrogance, mocking her calm presence. One step forward, his tone sharp and demanding, while another shoved his bike just inches from her path, blocking her completely. They thought intimidation would break her, that fear would force her to bow her head. But Coco's eyes stayed steady, her breathing calm, her stance unshaken. She raised her hand slightly, not in panic, but in warning. Her voice was steady, almost unsettling in its control. She told them clearly to step aside, to think carefully about what they were about to do. But her calm tone only made them laugh louder, their taunts sharper. One biker leaned close, his finger pointing at her chest, daring her to react. The tension thickened in the air, every second stretching like a wire ready to snap. Coco gave them one final warning, her words quiet but chilling, echoing with the weight of someone who knew exactly what she was capable of. Her eyes locked on theirs, unblinking, unafraid. The laughter and arrogance drowned out her words. They didn't take her seriously. They thought she was bluffing. They thought she was just another target to push around. They should have listened. The bikers roared with laughter, convinced Coco would back down, but she stood still, eyes sharp, body steady. The leader lunged first, swinging a heavy fist toward her face. In one swift move, she shifted her weight, sidestepped, and drove her elbow into his ribs with brutal precision. The crack of impact silenced the laughter for a moment. He doubled over, gasping for air, while Coco remained calm, her breathing steady, her face unreadable. Another biker rushed forward, wild and sloppy, throwing punches without aim. Coco slipped past his strikes, her movements controlled like a dancer trained for war. She pivoted low, swept his legs from under him, and in one motion struck his jaw with the heel of her palm. He hit the ground hard, stunned, groaning as the others froze in shock. But pride and rage drove them. Two came at her at once, one swinging a chain, the other rushing with brute force. Coco ducked beneath the chain's arc, grabbed the biker's wrist, and twisted until the weapon fell from his hand. With a quick strike to his throat, he stumbled back, choking. The other tried to grab her from behind, but she shifted her stance, drove her head back into his nose, and spun free, landing a kick to his chest that sent him sprawling onto the pavement. Her movements were not wild, not desperate. Every strike, every motion was exact, born from years of discipline and training. She breathed evenly, eyes locked on the next threat, while the bikers grew clumsy, panicked by her composure. One swung a bottle at her head. Coco caught his wrist midair, twisted until he screamed, then turned his own momentum against him, flipping him over her shoulder and slamming him to the ground. The gang circled again, hesitation in their eyes. They had come as a pack of predators, but now they looked like prey. Coco wiped a speck of blood from her lip, her face calm, her voice steady as she said, almost too quietly for them to hear, "I told you to walk away." Her words lingered in the silence, heavy and chilling. The bikers shuffled, anger replaced with fear. They finally began to realize they were fighting someone far beyond their reach. The street was littered with fallen bikers, their groans echoing against the silence that followed the chaos. Helmets rolled on the pavement, chains clattered to the ground, and the same men who had been loud and arrogant just moments ago now struggled to catch their breath. A couple of bystanders who had been watching from a safe distance stood frozen, wide-eyed, unsure if they had just witnessed a nightmare or a miracle. Coco stood among the wreckage, her breathing steady, her face calm as if nothing extraordinary had happened. She brushed a loose strand of hair back, adjusted her jacket with quiet composure, and, without sparing the men another glance, turned and walked away. The silence that followed was heavier than any shout, the kind that made everyone realize these bikers had picked the wrong woman to threaten. That night proved a lesson many forget too easily. Strength is not always loud, and courage does not always wear a uniform. Those bikers saw only a woman they thought would be an easy target, but what they faced was resilience and power far beyond their imagination. It reminds us all, how often do we misjudge people simply by how they look? The truth is, you never really know the battles someone has fought or the strength they carry within. So the next time you're quick to judge, remember this moment. Respect is not given based on appearances. It is earned through understanding. And sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one you should never underestimate.